Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen, and I'm back for another live stream brought to you by Princess Dental Staffing. Happy Hump Day. Happy everyone could be here with me today. So, today's topic is how to master your work life balance as a dental assistant. Okay. So, when it comes to the phrase work life balance, I'm sure we've all heard it once or twice or maybe 10 times, right? It's definitely a phrase that's used often. And, since it is being talked about quite a bit in terms of, in terms of the workforce, the definition of it is constantly changing. But in essence, work life balance basically refers to the harmonization of the harmony between your priorities in your work environment and with the priorities in your personal affairs, right? And even though, like I said, we've all heard the phrase, work-life balance over and over and over again. We're probably getting sick of hearing it by now. But the reason it's being talked about so much is because it is really, really important. It is imperative that you are able to meet all of the obligations of your work life and your personal life without sacrificing your mental health. Because it does, when you don't have that work-life balance, that's what can happen. It can definitely drain you mentally, and it can make you miss things and get you farther behind in meeting all the obligations that we need to meet as working adults. So, how do we achieve work-life balance? How do dental assistants achieve work-life balance? That's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we dive too deeply into today's topic, just want to remind everyone that each week we are bringing you a new topic on these live streams. So if you don't want to miss out on future streams, follow our page, subscribe to our channel. Okay. If you want more information on the topics that we're bringing you, check out princessdentalstaffing.com, where you can read through their blog, and it just gives you more information on the topics that we're bringing you. You can also start to take a look at dental jobs in your area. So Princess Dental Staffing is an online dental job board that offers positions for front office personnel, dental assistants, dental hygienists, and even dentists in a variety of different areas. They've got full-time, part-time, temporary, and a lot of different options for the dental workforce out there. So be sure to check out what's available in your area. You can also create a profile that gets your information in front of the hiring managers, in front of the decision makers. Okay, so a lot you can do on princessdentalstaffing.com. So be sure to check it out today. And of course, if you like the content that we're bringing you on these streams, be sure to drop us a like. Questions, comments, insights, be sure to comment those below as well. And we'll try to get to them, when this stream is live. But if we can't, we will definitely respond to them as soon as possible. Okay. Alrighty. So let's talk about dental assistant work-life balance. Okay. So, tip number one, be present and aware wherever you are. So if you're at work, be present at work. If you are at home or outside of work, be present where you are. Okay. Try not to let the two overlap too much, just because it can interfere with one another. If you're worrying about things at home while you're at work, it can really kind of interfere with you, moving about your day and getting done all of the appointments and the tasks that need to be completed for that day. And same thing at home as well. So make sure that you are present and aware wherever you are. I find that, so since I do a lot of remote work, I do a lot of my work at home. I find that even working from home, this is still a challenge, right? It's still a challenge to kind of focus on work when it's time to work and focus on other stuff when it's time to focus on other stuff. And I find that mindfulness practice is really, really helpful. Just centering yourself and reminding yourself where you are, being present in the present moment. And that way you can focus a little bit better on, where you are at the time you're there, right? Focusing on work at work and focusing on home at home. Okay. Okay. So, tip number two, learn to say no. So it's really, really important that you do a bit of self-assessment and, um, you know, understand where your limits are. Of course, we're not recommending that you do the bare minimum and skate through on just the bare minimum, but we are recommending that you know what your limitations are. You know what you can handle and what you can carry, so that way you don't have to carry too much. Okay, because then the work-life balance is again going to get off kilter, and then you're going to really suffer from, suffer from being overburdened, and your mental health will suffer as well. Okay, so make sure that you're saying no. You're saying yes to what you can, but you're saying no to what you know that you can't produce in a timely manner. Okay, so if you have like a dentist or a boss that asks you to stay late, can you work a few extra hours here and there? It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to extra duties if you cannot take all of them on and complete them all within a reasonable time frame and thoroughly and accurately. Okay, so make sure that you're taking that time to assess, what you have time for, what you can do within a reasonable time frame, and what you can complete with like I said, with a high level of accuracy, or through to completion, and just not leaving things half done. Okay. But, stretching yourself, past your limitations is like I said, definitely the number one way to kind of get that work-life balance off kilter, so that you kind of have to dig into personal time in order to get more work done, or, your work suffers because you have to have more time to take care of personal things that you said yes to, when maybe you should have set the boundary and said, actually, I really can't deliver that right now, or I don't have the bandwidth to do so. Okay. So make sure that you are, like I said, really doing that assessment and saying no where you can't produce. Okay. Tip number 3, determine if working full-time or temping works better for you. So there are definitely pros and cons to working full-time, part-time, or temping. Okay. And again, it's really important to self-assess and determine what's going to work best for you, for your priorities, and what's going to contribute and add value to your work-life balance. So, for example, if you are looking for a full-time position, the pros are, of course, that you have consistent income, right, and that you may get benefits depending on the office or the practice. You may get benefits, okay, maybe even paid time off, or things like that. Health insurance, those sorts of things. And normally you have a pretty standard work schedule, right? Generally, same days every week, same times every week, or same times every day, generally. And so that kind of consistency can be really, really comforting, and not only comforting, but also contributing to a really strong work-life balance, because when and where you're going to be at work and when you're not. Okay. Drawback, of course, is that you lose a little bit of flexibility. So when you have to be at work, you have to be at work. So that flexibility, you do kind of sacrifice that with a full-time position. Now, with temping, of course, you have tons of flexibility, right? With temping, you have some say in choosing your assignments, and it's, if you're temping, generally it can be kind of consistent for at least the duration of the position. But again, when you're done with that temp assignment, you have a lot more flexibility when it comes to time and how you spend it, right? Either at work or at home, and taking care of those priorities. Okay. Of course, the downsides are that you're probably not going to get benefits, and you don't necessarily have consistent income. Generally, though, temps do generally get paid a little bit more than full-time employees, because it is temp work. So while the pay is not necessarily consistent, you may get a little bit more of it. Okay. So those are kind of the pros and cons. And then, of course, sometimes some of the other drawbacks can also be, you're also more responsible for planning out your days of work. days and times might not be consistent, and it may make it difficult socially to make a lot of friends at work since you aren't spending as much time there and since it's inconsistent and you don't plan on staying a long time. Okay. So those are some of the kind of the pros and cons of temping. Part-time kind of is a little bit of the best of both worlds. Again, you have that consistent income. You tend to have consistent hours, not all the time, mind you, but depending on the location, you may have some pretty consistent hours being a part-timer. Sometimes you will get benefits or reduced benefits as well, and you get a little bit more of that flexibility. So it definitely has some of the elements of the pros of full-time and temping, and some of the cons of full-time and temping as well. So it's kind of in between, but again, it's really important to assess what's going to work best for you in order to help your work-life balance. And no matter what you choose, again, Princess Dental Staffing has options to fit your schedule and to fit your work-life balance. Okay, so be sure to check those out, princessdentalstaffing.com. Okay. Lastly, number 4, leave work at the office. Okay, you may have heard this phrase before, leave work at work, right? And this kind of goes hand in hand, with the first tip, which is be present and aware wherever you are, right? Leave work at work. It can be really, really tempting, and sometimes it's really, really hard to do just that, right? To leave work at work and to, go home and just not think about what you have to do the next day, or think about the day that you just had, especially if you have a lot of work to do and you're just going to have a full packed day tomorrow, or maybe a patient was not so nice, or a coworker did something that you didn't exactly appreciate. Those are things that we tend to ruminate on, and we tend to not let go of all throughout the evening. And again, when we're talking about being present and aware of where we are, you want to be just as present and aware at home as you do at work. Okay, because that valuable time with your friends and family, or with just by yourself, even your alone time. I definitely value my alone time. It's really, really important to be able to be present and aware for that, and to really get the most out of it that you possibly can. Okay, so kind of blurring those lines between work and home is not recommended, because it's just not. Again, it's not harmonizing. It's not getting that work-life balance, okay? And it can leave you really stressed out and not fully present for the time that you're spending with your significant others, or even by yourself, okay? So make sure that, again, I find that mindfulness is really, really helpful to me, mindfulness practice, to ensure that we that we're present where we are, and that we continue to engage in the priorities and take care of the obligations and priorities of each different environment, each different sphere. Okay? Alrighty. So those are our tips for you regarding work-life balance for dental assistants. Okay, so let's go over them one more time. 1, be present and aware wherever you are. Number 2, learn to say no. Again, know your boundaries. Number 3, determine if working full-time or temping works better for you, or maybe even part-time. Okay. And number 4, leave work at work. Leave work at the office, and be present and aware when you are at home. Okay. Alrighty. So those are our tips for you guys today regarding work-life balance as a dental assistant. Thanks for being here with me today, everyone, and joining in. I hope that you have a great week. We will definitely be back next week, next Wednesday, with a new topic discussing your dental career, starting in or maintaining your career in the dental industry. Okay. So until then, have a great week. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon, and be sure to continue to stay safe out there. Okay. All right. Have a great day, everyone.